Hello, hello, beautiful friends. It's Karina, and I'm doing a spontaneous video today from my altar here in my bedroom on the myth of self-mastery. So if you're somebody who, I know many of you are really passionate about your own growth, and you feel frustrated by the ways that you are limited or feel limited in your quest for self-mastery, whether that be your anxiety or your lack of confidence or your fatigue or something like that. There's something in your life that you feel like is keeping you back from self-mastery, and you're wondering, you're frustrated by that because you want that mastery of yourself. Then keep watching, because this is for you. So before we dive in, let's go ahead and settle in. We'll take a deep breath in through our nose. And exhale, side out. Softening your face, your jaw, deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. And one more like that. Deep breath in through the nose. And exhale, sigh out. Opening your eyes. So hopefully you have some time to yourself here, and you can set your intention. Maybe closing out browsers or taking a moment for yourself, taking a breath, getting a cup of tea, and being ready to receive whatever you're meant to receive from this teaching. And so the myth of self-mastery, I'm not saying that self-mastery isn't possible. As a matter of fact, most of us deeply desire to, have some freedom in our lives. I think an indication of self-mastery is freedom, having freedom in our lives. So I'm not saying that that's not possible, but I am saying that our understanding of what that means could use some adjusting. So I was talking to a client the other day, and she had mentioned, really wanting to cultivate this quality of self-mastery, but she felt held back by her anger. Really, she felt held back by her anger and her difficulty in expressing her anger for fear of disappointing other people. And if you're somebody who has that disease to please, as Oprah calls it, you kind of might know what this is like, if you're somebody who's fearful of conflict because you're deeply scared of upsetting or disappointing somebody. And so she just felt that she knew that this way in which she was holding back, her truth, was detrimental to, one, like her feeling really connected in relationship, right? Because if someone doesn't know how we really feel, we don't really feel like they know us, and it's hard to let our guard down. So that was one aspect. And two, she was just really exhausted. This person had asked her a favor, and it was one that she just didn't feel like she had the energy to, she couldn't, do the agreement. And so, but she was really having a really hard time saying no, and feeling really upset with herself on top of that, because she didn't sense that she had the self-mastery that she deeply desired, so that she could feel confident in stepping forward. And so, and I think, I paused and I thought, this is so common that we get on our own cases about the parts of our being that actually are wanting our love and attention. And we think that it's those things that are holding us back from expressing ourselves or taking care of ourselves, or, doing whatever it is that we need to do to be our best selves in the world. And so she thought that it was her anger and her, not really her anger, but it was her fear of disappointing others that was keeping her from self-mastery. And we can think this about a lot of things. I might think it's my my lack of confidence that is keeping me from making more videos, so maybe it's my lack of confidence that needs adjusting so that I can have mastery. and be fearless in making these videos for you. And so then I would be really upset with myself, and I'd judge and resist my own lack of confidence, whatever that might mean. And that's actually not the way to self-mastery. The way to self-mastery isn't by kind of pummeling through our quote-unquote limitations. And most of us believe in some way, shape, or form that our anxieties, our anger, sometimes our rage, our fear, sometimes about nothing in particular, but just, for some of us, it's like we carry around this little bit of anxiety that seems to always be in the background, like a hum, a restlessness. We think that it's these things that are prohibiting us from moving forward in our life, and that we need to now battle with these things. Another client I had mentioned that her anxiety, when she reflected on it, she had the judgment that it was silly because there was nothing in her immediate environment that would cause the anxiety, so she thought it was silly. And so this anxiety then became an enemy, or is an enemy, she thinks, to her being in her, the term royal seat comes to mind. We all long to be in this place of alignment with the truth of who we are and express from that place. We're designed to do this, and we're happiest when we're doing that in the world. It's my belief that that's our deep calling, is to sort of actualize this inherent potential that every being has, including you. That's probably why you're here, because you're on a journey. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because it is not your obstacles, your limitations that are keeping you from self-mastery. It's not. Actually, the way that we relate to them. So in both of these examples I gave you, one of the person who felt really, the one that was upset, feeling that it was her people pleasing that was getting in the way, low battery, of her speaking her truth. Or, it was the other person I talked about who felt her anxiety was silly because it wasn't tied to anything that she could really see, in her environment. In both of those cases, the way to mastery is through the obstacle itself. The saying is, what's in the way is the way. That's the name of a book. I can't remember the author's name. But we think these things that are in the way are to be battled and fought and eradicated. We want to clear them. We want to, do all kinds of things, chant them away. I don't know, send them up to, I don't know, we want to rid ourselves of part of our experience. If you're feeling anxious, then anxiety is arising because it just wants attention and love. This is the way to self-mastery. And this is what's meant by radical self-love. And so it's radical in that we actually have to learn to turn towards that which in the past we've feared and run away from. And that we even use our spiritual practices to continue that same pattern. It's called spiritual bypassing. And so the way actually is to love these obstacles. Right now, you might write down a list of everything you think is not okay with you. Write down everything you judge about yourself. This is a process I'm going to be walking some of you through who are coming on Saturday to Radical Self-Love, the live workshop. And if you can't make that, then I'll leave a link below for 7 days of self-love. It's a freely offered meditation journey with a creative twist, and I'll be live there. So, I'd love to have you. But write down everything that you judge about yourself. And then go back through the list. And rather than develop some plan of getting rid of that quality, begin to inquire as to what it would feel like to love that part of you. Your anxiety, your people pleasing. We have to start where we are. It's that very quality that's getting under your skin. It's getting under your skin because it just wants your attention, your love. Why does anything get under our skin, really? You know, I think of a kid who needs our attention. You know, they'll just keep at you and at you and at you until it almost gets annoying, you know, or it gets really annoying. But it's always out of this desire to be loved, you know, to be seen. And what tends to happen is when we allow that thing to be there, when we make space for anxiety, like, wow, bring compassion to it. Likely when we grok the pain that we're in, anxiety is painful. People pleasing is painful. What's needed there is kindness and compassion. You know, we might call the heart of metta, or loving kindness. And then as we do this, we begin to sort of birth ourselves, you know, into this healthy adult. Many of us are wounded little kids in so many ways because we've never brought kindness to the places where we're wounded. And until we do, they keep coming back. So write your list and then inquire how you might bring some kindness to those things. And what you might encounter first is this kind of layer of like, you know, I can't bring kindness to this. I hate this about myself. And so let yourself acknowledge the part of you that hates yourself in some way. Because what you'll find is that that part of you wants your kindness too. And so we start there. We always start where we are. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this served you in some way. And if it did, comment or like the video, and it just reminds me that, you know, this is helpful and worth your time and mine. So please do that. It would mean a lot. And I'll leave a link for 7 days of self-love below. Thank you for the hearts. I love those. They're so fun too, how they pop and they boo. Oh, enjoy today. It's beautiful. Much love and many blessings. Namaste.